Just like me, you've probably stayed in a hotel sometimes. Generally, it's a pleasant experience with good service, clean sheets, small shampoo bottles, and daily room cleaning. But have you ever thought about the people on the other side of this experience, the ones who work at the hotel? I'm sure you've never messed up your hotel room except by accident. But some people really make a mess, and it's the hotel maids who have to clean it up again. This story is about a hotel maid who thought she had seen it all. At least, that's what she thought until one day she lifted the bed covers in a room she needed to clean and almost fainted at what she saw. Alright, here's an immediate disclaimer. We know how the maid reacted upon entering the room because everything was filmed, not because the hotel has cameras in all the rooms monitoring guests and staff, but because these cameras were specifically placed there to capture the moment she found what was under the covers. It wasn't what she expected to find, and the people behind the scheme didn't want to miss a single moment of her reaction. So, I bet you're curious now, and I'll explain everything. But first, let's introduce the heroine of the story. Her real name was never published, so let's call her Jessica to make things easier. Jessica entered a hotel one day to spend the night. It was obvious to the owner that she wasn't in the best situation. She looked desperate. After a day, Jessica asked at the reception about the sign outside. What job was it for? Near the door, she saw a now hiring sign and wondered what position was being advertised. The owner, sitting at the reception, laughed and said she was looking for a maid. Her previous maid had just quit, leaving them in a bind. The hotel was full, and the cleaning work was piling up. They had just hosted a major festival in the city, the San Andreas Festival. Many attendees were still enjoying the festivities, not showing much concern for others. This had been too much for the last maid, who literally threw in the towel and left. So, the hotel desperately needed a new cleaning staff member. Upon hearing all this, Jessica straightened her shoulders and said she would like to apply for the job. Although she had little direct experience, she was familiar with cleaning work and promised not to disappoint. The owner hesitated for a moment but had a good feeling about the girl and decided to take a chance. She wasn't sure how long Jessica would last, but she could at least give her a try. So, Jessica started as a maid at a hotel in Park City, Utah, and boy, she was in for an experience. She soon found out why the previous maid had left. Some guests really left their rooms in terrible condition. They left extremely dirty sheets, broke things in the room, and created a general mess. Additionally, since the previous maid had left a few days ago, the laundry had piled up, and there were almost no clean sheets or towels. But Jessica wasn't intimidated and rolled up her sleeves. She just started working and didn't stop. To the owner's surprise, she not only cleaned the rooms well, but also organized the laundry, putting the washed sheets and towels in place, making the job easier. She created a whole organization system so no towel would end up in the wrong place again. The owner was surprised and very satisfied with all the work Jessica was doing. She wished she could do something to reward Jessica for all her efforts. Most guests at the hotel didn't feel generous, as it was an economical hotel, so they didn't have much to spend. Have you ever left a tip for the hotel maid? They are mostly invisible, working behind the scenes, so it's easy to forget about them. Jessica knew all about this and never expected much. Still, the owner wanted to reward Jessica more, but besides her regular salary, the hotel didn't have much extra money to spend. So, when Carly and Josh entered the hotel one day, she was delighted to learn what they planned to do. Carly is a filmmaker with a YouTube channel called Give Back Films. It's a channel based on the principle of paying it forward, doing good things for others without expecting anything in return, just for the pleasure of doing good. You've probably seen stories like this on the internet, people in line at Starbucks paying for the person behind them. Carly's channel certainly has its share of such good stories, but there's always room for one more. Now, you're probably starting to get an idea of what Carly and Josh were doing. Both were still young, around 18, when their project became known online. They realized they were in a privileged position, unlike others who might not be as fortunate. Some people have to work hard for every penny and be careful each month to get by. Carly and her best friend Josh were determined to help some of these less fortunate people and make a name for themselves by posting their good deeds on YouTube. They hope to inspire others to do the same, making the world a little nicer. I liked the idea, and the hotel owner liked it too when she learned what the two friends planned, putting Jessica in the spotlight for a chance. Staying at the hotel for a few days, the duo saw how hard Jessica really worked. After talking with the owner for a while, they were convinced Jessica needed a little extra in her life. So, here's what they did. When they checked out of their hotel room on the last day, they didn't take all their things. They left their cameras hidden behind the coffee maker and window so Jessica wouldn't immediately notice something was different in the room. They also placed something under the blanket with a handwritten note carefully tucked in the sheets so Jessica wouldn't see it right away. Then they left. They passed by the reception and waited in their car near the hotel room window. Now it was just a matter of time until Jessica came to clean the room. Sure enough, here she came. She approached the door, unlocked it with her key card, and entered. Carly and Josh, watching the live feed from their car, held their breath. Would she notice the cameras? Jessica realized something was off immediately, but it wasn't the cameras. Something was sticking out from under the sheets. When she lifted the cover, she froze. She put her hand to her mouth and stood in silence for a long time, as if she couldn't believe what she saw. What was under the blanket? A note saying, "This is your tip. Enjoy it," surrounded by 25 $20 bills, totaling $500. It was a huge amount of money for Jessica, and she was completely stunned. What happened next? She gathered the money, holding it in her hands, and then picked up the note, reading and rereading what it said. Who would do this? Not knowing what to do, Jessica looked around and suddenly noticed other things different in the room. She also heard something outside the window, and when she looked out, she saw Carly and Josh standing there. She shouted, "Thank you so much, guys." They approached her in the room, and Jessica just stared at them. "You can't do this," she exclaimed. "I can't accept this." But she had to because the money was hers, well-earned, according to Carly and Josh. Jessica asked how they managed it, and they explained that her boss was in on it and that they do this often. They like to help people who need a little more, and Jessica seemed to need a little extra. Her boss was in the next room, and when she came out, Jessica shouted at her too, "You knew." "Yes, and you deserve it." "You do a great job," replied the boss. Jessica then began to laugh, holding the money close to her. Gratitude was evident on her face, and her smile made everything worth it for Carly and Josh. They were eager to edit the footage and post the video on their YouTube channel to share this wonderful moment with everyone. Make sure to like the video if you approve of their actions. It's not the only good video they've made. Carly's channel is full of moments like this. Be sure to check it out and see, for example, a hairdresser receiving a $500 tip or a charity barbecue for the homeless. I hope you feel inspired to go out and do the same.